Before his wedding day, Abdu'l-Baha made the necessary arrangements for the few guests. His mother and sister made a delicate bridal dress of white batiste. A white headdress adorned Munir Khanum's hair, worn, as usual, in 2 braids. At 9 in the evening, she went with the greatest holy leaf into the presence of Baha'u'llah, who gave her his blessing. She then went to the bridal room and awaited the coming of Abdu'l-Baha. The service was very simple. At about 10 o'clock, Abdu'l-Baha came, accompanied by the guests, and Munir Khanum chanted a tablet revealed by Baha'u'llah. Later, the wife of Abud recalled the sweetness of that chanting still ringing in her ears. There were no choir, decorations, or cake, just cups of tea. Above all, a glory and a love that were more than sufficient to bless the happy event. Abdu'l-Baha's family was taught to dress in such a way that they would be an example to the rich and an encouragement to the poor. Available money was stretched to cover far more than the master's family needs. One of his daughters wore no bridal gown when she married. A clean dress sufficed. The master was curious why he had not provided bridal clothes. With candor, he replied simply, "My daughter is warmly clad and has all that she needs for her comfort. The poor have not. What my daughter does not need, I will give to the poor rather than to her." The husband of Amelia Collins, a devoted American Baha'i, was a very sociable man. He could take part in any discussion with perfect freedom and ease. But once, before entering the master's home, he was so excited that he arranged his tie just right, smoothed his clothes, and repeatedly asked his wife what he should do when they arrived there. She told him, "Nothing. In the family of Abdu'l-Baha, simplicity reigns, and nothing but love is ever accepted." Abdu'l-Baha had such an easy way of leading into a meaningful conversation. He would begin with some simple reference to a natural thing, the weather, food, a stone, tree, water, the prison, a garden or a bird, our coming, or some little act of service, and this space would be woven into a parable and teaching of wisdom and simplicity, showing the oneness of all spiritual truth, and adapting it always to the life, both of the individual and of mankind. All of his words are directed toward helping men to live. Unless questions of metaphysics, dogmas, and doctrines be introduced, he seldom mentions them. He speaks easily, clearly, in brief phrases, each of which is a gem. Cleanliness. The master considered cleanliness of vital importance. He was indeed the essence of cleanliness, even as Baha'u'llah had taught his followers. Florence Khanum bore witness to this, for she found him dazzlingly, spotlessly shining, from snowy turban cloth to white, snowy hair falling upon his shoulders, to white, snowy beard and long, snowy garment. Although it was high noon in summer, his attire was crisp and fresh-looking, as though he had not been visiting the sick and in prison, and toiling for mankind since early morning. Often, a deliciously fresh rose was tucked in his belt. Not only his person, but also his immediate surroundings needed to be spotless. Once when he had guests, whom he would always honor, he asked that the chimney of a lamp be replaced, as it was not sufficiently polished. Patience. There was a Christian merchant in Akka who, like many of his fellow citizens, held the Baha'is in scant respect. It happened that he came upon a load of charcoal which some of the Baha'is had been permitted to buy outside Akka. Inside the town, they were denied such purchases. The merchant, noticing that the fuel was of a fine grade, took it for his own use. For him, Baha'is were beyond the pale, and so their goods could be impounded. When Abdu'l-Baha heard of the incident, he went to the place where the merchant transacted his business to ask for the return of the charcoal. There were many people about in that office, bent on their trade, and they took no notice of Abdu'l-Baha. He sat and waited. 3 hours passed before the merchant turned to him and said, "Are you one of the prisoners in this town?" Abdu'l-Baha said that he was, and the merchant then inquired, "What was the crime for which you were imprisoned?" Abdu'l-Baha replied, "The same crime for which Christ was indicted." The merchant was taken aback. He was a Christian, and here was a man speaking of similarity between his action and the action of Christ. "What could you know of Christ?" was his retort. Abdu'l-Baha calmly proceeded to tell him. The arrogance of the merchant was confronted by the patience of Abdu'l-Baha. When Abdu'l-Baha rose to go, the merchant also rose and walked with him into the street, betokening his respect for this man, one of the detested prisoners. From then on, he was a friend, even more, a stout supporter. But regarding the charcoal, the merchant could only say, "The coal is gone. I cannot return you that, but here is the money." Florence Khanum relates 2 sayings she heard from Abdu'l-Baha. On one occasion, he said to her, "Sabr kon, misl man bash, be patient, be as I am." The other was when one expressed discouragement to him, saying they could not possibly acquire all the qualities and virtues that Baha'is are directed to possess. And the master replied, "Kam kam, ruz be ruz, little by little, day by day." As for himself, Abdu'l-Baha testified to his own patience as he eagerly waited for Baha'is to develop the spiritual virtues. "Friends, the time is coming when I shall be no longer with you. I have done all that could be done. I have served the cause of Baha'u'llah to the utmost of my ability. I have labored night and day, all the years of my life. Oh, how I long to see the loved ones taking upon themselves the responsibilities of the cause. Now is the time to proclaim the kingdom of Baha. Now is the hour of love and union. Ah me, I am waiting to hear the joyful tidings that the believers are the very embodiment of sincerity and truthfulness, the incarnation of love and amity, the living symbols of unity and concord. Will they not gladden my heart? Will they not satisfy my yearning? Will they not manifest my wish? Will they not fulfill my heart's desire? Will they not give ear to my call? I am waiting. I am patiently waiting."